Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to another session on Indian economy essentials, and in today's video, let's have a discussion regarding the economics behind the Delhi government's liquor policy. Now before I start the discussion, here is a very important announcement. Based on the popular demand, from the 1st of March 2023, we'll be launching Target Prelims 2023 initiative. And this year, this initiative of Target Prelims, which will be much more holistic, starting with the strategy sessions. We'll be starting with the strategy sessions in the YouTube. The three components, understand this. We'll start with the strategy sessions on the YouTube, followed by coverage of more than 400 plus topics in the BYJU'S Exam Prep app. And then we will have a coverage of more than 600 MCQ live session discussions on the YouTube. Now to get access to all of this, you'll have to do three things. One, subscribe to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS YouTube channel. Second, join the Telegram channel. And the third one, please download BYJU'S Exam Prep app as well. So with this caveat, let me start the discussion of the liquor policy of Delhi government. Now before I start the discussion, let's not delve into the political aspect of it because that is not relevant for any kind of exams. Now to understand why government of the state, or let's say why Delhi government has implemented this policy, you need to understand certain basic points first. The concept of liquor that is used for human consumption attracts a lot of taxes. And I'm pretty sure all of you have come across this. Even today, as we speak, there is no GST that is applicable. That is, goods and service taxes is not applicable on liquor. In fact, this is one of the consumption goods or the demerit goods on which the governments will impose the tax, and this tax is not under the ambit of the GST, or it is not covered under the GST as of now. Now then, what kind of tax is applicable? Please understand this. On liquor which is imported, into India, the taxes, the customs are imposed by central government. And the liquor that is manufactured and sold in the domestic market, whichever is sold in the states like this, the tax on this is imposed by the state government. And this tax is referred to as excise duties. Simple. The tax is referred to as excise duties on liquor. And apart from this excise duties, the state is also allowed to impose many types of charges or fees and collect it from these sellers in the market. So this is the type of taxation which is imposed on imported liquor and the liquor that is sold in the domestic market. Now why? One of the reasons, understand this, why there is a lot of discussion regarding taxation on liquor. That is precisely because the states impose and collect a lot of tax revenues on this product. Simple. The states impose and collect a lot of tax revenues on this product. For example, have a look at the table given here. Please do not by heart any of the numbers. UPSC will not ask you the numbers. But what you will realize is the amount of excise duties that was imposed and collected on the product alcohol was 1.6 lakh crore rupees. That is a state excise, by the way. 1.6 lakh crore rupees in 19 and 20 financial year. And 22, this has basically increased to 2.17 lakh crore rupees. Now some of you will say, sir, the number is wrong here. Do not worry, it is basically 21 and 22, financial year 22. So in a span of 2 to 3 years, there is a huge bump or increase in the amount of the state excise collected by the government. And if you basically calculate, which you don't have to do, generally around 15% of the tax revenues collected by the states are in the form of the excise duties imposed. Now, next important point, is it the only product on which the government, or let's say the state government, imposes excise? Of course, no. There are various other commodities also. For example, petrol. If you talk about petrol, on the commodity petrol, on which the GST is yet to be notified, we generally have seen that the central government as well as the state government imposes the taxes and collects taxes on these fuels. It could be ATF, aviation turbine fuel. It could be diesel, it could be petrol. But do not be mistaken by looking at this and say, in that case, even on petrol and diesel, it is out of the ambit, or let's say it is not covered under GST. Do not say that. Why? In the context of petrol, or let's say any other fuels, right, aviation turbine fuel, etc., GST is yet to notify, the council is yet to notify the GST rates. Whereas in the context of liquor, as per the constitutional mandate, it is out of GST as of now. So these are certain very important points. Now, come to the case of Delhi. Come to the situation in Delhi. Now, until very recently, what used to happen in case of Delhi was, the state government used to own or used to run the vendors who would sell the liquor in the market, collect the amount and pay taxes to government. Simple process. The government, there were corporations of the Delhi government. For example, these are some of the corporations. Please have a look at it. Delhi Tourism and Transportation Development, Delhi State Industrial and Infrastructure Development Corporation, Delhi Consumers Cooperative Wholesale Store. These are some of the corporations which were allowed to open these vending shops, sell liquor and pay the taxes to government. Now, what happened in 2020 was the state government, right, or let's say the ministry within Delhi, the group of ministers gave a recommendation that rather the government selling the liquor like this through the corporations, we should open the market, allow the private sector to start owning the vending shops or let's say the liquor shops, sell it in the market and the government will be collecting a lot of revenues. And when the new policy was introduced, remember this, when the new policy was introduced, in fact, the government of Delhi, the amount of revenues that they collected actually increased by more than 27%. But that's a different story altogether, right? Follow the sequence here. So the government or the ministers gave a recommendation. Then the Minister of Excise, which was Mr. Manish Sisodia, basically huddled with various bureaucrats, made a group and decided, okay, let's introduce a new policy, new liquor policy for Delhi. And that new liquor policy came into implementation from the month of November 2021. And when it was implemented, the logic was simple. Rather than the government owning these shops, now private sector, right, that is other people in the market will be allowed to own the shops, but they will pay fees to the government. They'll pay taxes, collect the taxes and pay to the government. And that policy was implemented. Lot of these private sector participants participated, purchased the license and paid the fees to the government. But later, there are certain concerns regarding this policy. What was the concern? Have a look at this. When this policy was implemented, the Chief Secretary of Delhi government looked at the policy and flagged certain issues. What were the issues? Under the new policy, many reforms were implemented. For example, rather than government owning the shops, private sector entities will own the shop. They will be allowed to decide their own prices. Whatever is the MRP, they can decide their own prices. They can offer huge amount of a discount. Even that was allowed now. They could offer huge amount of a discount. They were allowed to open till 3 a.m., provide the services, make it much more friendly for female clientele to purchase the products. Even home delivery was allowed under the new policy. And around 849 vending shops were provided the permission to be opened under the new policy. And government basically said, we will divide the Delhi into 32 blocks like this, and each of these blocks will have 27 shops. The reason that was given by the government was very simple. Some of the regions, they are overserved. That is, more than required number of shops are there in the region. And in some of the other regions, the number of shops are lesser than the required. These are underserved. So when I divide the Delhi into these blocks, and in each of these blocks, if I have these 27 shops, then there is uniform supply of services, that is equal number of shops will be available, and that is the precise reason around 849 shops, vending shops, were allowed to be opened under the new policy. But the Chief Secretary of the government found certain irregularities. Basically stated that, okay, there are certain problems with the new policy. And the policy that was flagged by the government, the policy that was flagged by the Chief Secretary, right, the policies which were inaccurate or inconsistent was said to be violating the provisions under some of the laws. First, the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Act of 1991, the Transaction of Business Rules 1993, the Delhi Excise Act of 2009, the Delhi Excise Rules of 2010. In fact, when the government in Delhi decided that they should have a new policy, implemented the policy from the November 2021, as per the Delhi Excise Act of 2009 and Delhi Excise Rules of 2010, they were supposed to first get the nod of LG of Delhi. And without getting the approval of Delhi or LG of the Delhi, they had already implemented the policy, and as per these rules, if you do not get the approval of LG first, then these will not be considered correct. These will be considered null and void. That's point number one. Second point, one more allegation that was raised was, whenever these licenses have been issued, certain charges have been waived off. Certain charges have been waived off. For example, citing that the pandemic had an impact on these service providers, or let's say the liquor sellers, more than 144 crore worth of license fees was waived off by the Delhi government. And Chief Secretary said this is violation. It was done with certain intent, malified intent. That is, there was a quid pro quo which was followed in the system. And this report now was sent to LG of Delhi. LG basically referred it to CBI, and as a result of this, Enforcement Directorate came into picture. The Economic Offences Wing of Delhi, right, came into picture, and now even CBI has come into picture. Right, so these are certain very important aspects related to this particular policy or the liquor policy of Delhi government. And in this slide, what has happened from one date to another date, the whole sequence is given. Is it relevant for the examination? Absolutely no. Important dates, again you don't have to by heart, are these. November 2021, Government of Delhi announced a new liquor policy. And when the Chief Secretary found certain irregularities as per various laws, in ending of July, right, ending of July, basically the government reverted to the old policy, saying that the new liquor policy will be discontinued rather than allowing the private parties to own the shops now. Again, like the earlier system where government corporations now will start owning the liquor shops. And very, very recently, February 26th, the minister, Manish Sisodia, was arrested by CBI. So this is basically the evolution of the liquor policy and the important aspects of the product liquor that you need to understand from the context of examination. Now, if you like these initiatives, please hit the like button. Provide your valuable comments in the section below. And if you're yet to subscribe to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS YouTube channel, kindly do it now. Thank you. Have a great day.